Ooh. Is it my turn, moderator?
Yes.
All right. Just checking. All right. I have put several links in the chat, and hopefully my moderator can continue to do all of those. This is going to be a PearDeck session, and I am a history teacher, so PearDeck and I are best friends forever. And so I have put a direct link to the PearDeck in the chat. But I have also put, if you would prefer to do the join PD route, you're going to be signing in as an anonymous avatar or animal. And that was because I didn't want to guarantee that everyone would have a Google account. And so it's easier for presentations, especially with people that don't work in my district, for me to just say, please join anonymously. I'm going to share that screen right now. There it is. And so, did I delete the first slide? I think I did. Oh, well. Oops. And so you have two choices. I would recommend, so I'm going to be kind of leading you through this PearDeck and talking about all of the wonderful things that PearDeck has to offer. But you can either do one or two things. You can like split your screen if that's easier for you. I personally have actually two screens going because one of the joys of PearDeck is they have something called a teacher dashboard. And so I actually can control the slides from a second device. So I'm using my iPad and I'm also using my computer. So I've got, multiple screens going all the time. And I know that there are 11 people in the PearDeck. I thought I had it so that there was like a doodling slide. I think I started on slide 2 instead, but I will show you that slide in a minute. I will wait probably about 30 more seconds. In the event you are not able to join the PearDeck, or if people come in late, moderator, you can just copy that link and it will have them join us anonymously in this PearDeck session. So PearDeck and I, we go way back. My district actually pays for a premium subscription to PearDeck, and I really sometimes don't know what I would do without it. Oh, yep, I did not start on slide 1. Funny how that works sometimes. So I'm going to actually show you slide 1 real fast. This is what I usually would do with my own students. I would have some sort of drawing slide as they came to class, where you have a blank slate, essentially, and you have drawing tools provided by PearDeck. And you've got colors and you've got highlighters. And I would always do something different. Maybe it was like a finish this doodle and I would just have some squiggly lines. Draw your favorite book, your favorite movie, your favorite person, your favorite hobby. And so they just kind of have an opportunity. I call this my brain break before we even get started. So this is just one of many ideas. And I would just ask students to do this while we waited for everybody to, come to class and get started. So I just wanted to show it to you. I did not start on that slide, but as soon as you had joined the PearDeck session, this would have actually been what you were supposed to see. Maybe I didn't drink enough coffee this morning. Yeah, we're going to go with that. I don't think I drank enough coffee. So you are here for PearDeck and Social Studies. I am a high school history teacher. The link to the slides is there. It is also in the SCED. So I have provided these slides. I'm also going to put this session in student paced mode. So if you needed to come back and you want to interact with PearDeck a little bit more, you'll have that ability as well. So the slides, if you click those, it's actually going to force a copy of this entire slide deck into your Google Drive. And I also downloaded it as a PDF. So I need to kind of start with the bigger question of how familiar are you with PearDeck? And I know I haven't actually introduced myself, but I promise it's coming on the next slide. One of the reasons I love PearDeck is because I can also set a timer. So I'm going to kind of force you to answer this question in a timely fashion, I guess you could say. And that way you also are, kind of forced to see it. I will show you responses several times. And that's, again, one of the engagement features of PearDeck. And that's part of the reason I love it. I can actually see on my end whether or not you are participating, since you are camels, eagles, puffins, and vultures. I don't know which one of you is which. So I usually have my students log in with their Google single sign-on, so I know where they are, and I know whether they've disappeared or they've dropped off the face of the planet. So counting down is super convenient, especially for me. There we go. I needed my show responses slide. So I'm going to show you the responses. Where did it go? Here it is. So in terms of this little informal poll, it was a multiple choice question. 3 of you have heard of PearDeck but not yet used it. That's going to change, hopefully, over the next 45 minutes. 4 of you have never used it. Oh, PearDeck newbies, my favorite. And then 4 of you have used it a few times, but always looking for more. So hopefully by the time you leave today, you will have all of those things and hopefully some more. My response would have been use it all the time, but I didn't log into my own. Presentation. Funny how that works. Went in the wrong direction. Sorry. Okay, so I guess it would help if I introduced myself now. My name is Brianna Davis. I actually am a high school history teacher. So I teach U.S. history, American government, women in history, AP U.S. history, and just about everything else under the sun, it seems. And I teach in the Oxnard Union High School District. So like I said, my district provides premium access to PearDeck, and I am very, very grateful for that. I do not join the PearDeck versus Nearpod debate because I am a PearDeck fan through and through. I'm actually wearing a PearDeck shirt. I have PearDeck. I have little Perry squeezy stress balls. I have PearDeck just about everywhere. And so I love PearDeck. My email is going to be provided at the end. I am always willing to answer any questions that you may have as you kind of get started. I'm also going to provide each and every one of you a free 90-day premium subscription to PearDeck at the end. So if you've never had a chance to use it, I will give you free access for 90 days with a code that I was given actually by PearDeck. I'm a Google trainer and I just love Pear. Perry, that's what I call him. He's a little pear. He's my favorite. I love him. I love him. I love him. One of the reasons I love PearDeck is because they also provide templates like this. So I can check in with students right off the bat. So I'm going to kind of start us off here, kind of like the pre-work here. How stressed are you? Over the last year, I would use a daily GIF check-in with my students, and we used PearDeck every single day. Were they sick of it? No, actually, it was surprising. I was a little surprised. And every day, I would give them a would you rather question, or like a, where are you kind of on a scale of rubber duckies, just so I could kind of get a gauge for what you're feeling and how things are going. This template was actually given and provided by PearDeck. They have tons of them. that are available for teachers to use. PearDeck works with both Google and Microsoft. I am a Google convert and don't look back, I guess I could say. And so there's so many things that you can do. PearDeck is an add-on for Google Slides. And the minute you have the add-on, once you have it and you start playing around, it kind of changes the way you do it. The first and most important thing that I would say in terms of PearDeck, and I'm going to move to the next slide. So if you're still dragging, so there's 6 different options, and we're going to talk about all of them. You're probably going to play with all of them as well. So we've done some draggable, we've done a multiple choice. We're going to play with them all. Promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. There's 4 things that I want to share with you today about PearDeck and about kind of like the why do I use PearDeck. One of the most important things for me is engagement. With PearDeck, I actually can know what my students are doing. I can see their response in real time. I can also respond back. So I can actually engage in a conversation with a student on a slide and nobody else can see that response. They don't see names either. So PearDeck is great for students. Every student has a voice and every student can actually communicate in a way that just kind of makes sense. It makes, everybody feel better. So we're going to talk about all 4 of these things. PearDeck Templates, because I love the things that PearDeck actually builds and provides for me. Edu protocols, which are my other passion. And I've used a lot of those in PearDeck, annotating primary sources. So I've adapted several Stanford History Educational Group, or SHEG, as I like to call it for short, to PearDeck. And then my new other favorite, which I didn't use in distance learning, but I'm so excited to bring back to my toolbox, PearDeck Flashcard Factory. So there we have it. I didn't put anything on that slide because I don't. In full transparency, I do want to provide you kind of like the pricing of PearDeck. There are free tools and it is able to be used completely for free. The only thing that you would not get with free access is the ability to drag and draw. So those are the 2 that are not necessarily able. Everyone is able to use Flashcard Factory. And I'm going to show you and walk you through kind of how that process works. The district, there's custom abilities. There's premium, and that costs $150 a year. And I do know multiple people who buy it by themselves, maybe with PTA help or whatever it may be. I don't know what I would do without PearDeck. So I guess I should have added that. I became a PearDeck trainer during, March of 2020 because I wanted to share the pair. So that is exactly what we're doing today. You have already experienced a timer on a slide, and everybody has access to that too. By timing it, then I can keep my students focused. And I can also call them out if they are not participating in a timely fashion. All right, so these are my, I guess you could say, top 5 reasons to use PearDeck. The first one is engagement. And what I was trying, and I kept losing my train of thought there for a second, is student engagement for me is a huge thing. And PearDeck allows me to actually make sure that they are doing what they should be doing, that students are actually paying attention. So if we were in a classroom and I had used the Google sign-on, I would actually be controlling your computer. And that's what I tell my students. And we're talking high school juniors and seniors. I tell them, I say, I'm going to control your computer because I don't want them wandering off. I don't want them watching YouTube when we're supposed to be having a conversation or lecturing or annotating or, doing school stuff. I want them to be focused, and PearDeck gives me the ability to do that. One of the best things about it too is I can also have a co-teacher. So if I had a co-presenter or I had a student teacher. I can invite them to moderate the PearDeck session with me. I don't have that today because I didn't need it, but I also have the ability to do what's called, sorry, I didn't make that full screen. I also have the ability to do what's called, oh my gosh. Oh, student paced mode. Sorry. And that's where if we don't finish this, I can put it in student paced mode. Students get the link and they can go in and finish this for homework. One of the other reasons that I love PearDeck is students no longer have to take notes either. With takeaways, what's now actually called reflect and review, I can actually provide each of my students a Google Doc with all of their responses. And the best part about that is if we didn't finish, if there's something I want them to do, like we don't get the slides done, I can post their takeaways and then they go in and I can assign it in Google Classroom. Google Classroom and PearDeck are seamlessly integrated, which is fantastic for a Google Classroom user like myself. I can post their takeaways as an assignment and I can say, all right, I need you to go through and I need you to finish all of these things, or I need you to add something to your reflection. I want you to finish this, whatever we didn't get to. So reflect and review is kind of the new version of takeaways. Those just came out in May. PearDeck just released those. So I didn't necessarily get enough time to play around with it because that was obviously the end of the year and we were working on finals. But reflect and review is great for doing just that. As a teacher, if I want to go in and I want to provide feedback to each individual student's response, I can now do that with reflect and review. It leaves the session open and I can go in and individually comment, which students also very much enjoy. Flashcard Factory, great for vocabulary, and we're going to go through all of these as well. Student pace mode, fantastic for even if I wanted to have them do a slide deck for homework and I run out of time, I can quickly put my PearDeck session in student pace mode and then we're good to go. I have no idea why I didn't put these in order, but that's okay, whatever. Flashcard Factory is so fun because it is a collaborative effort. So the way Flashcard Factory works, and I need to not be in full screen. Oh, well, let's see. Oh, okay. Flashcard Factory lives in your Google Drive. And the way Flashcard Factory works is you have a list of vocabulary words. So as a history teacher, I want my students to obviously know the difference between republic and democracy. Two of the huge big words that I would definitely want a government class, constitution, whatever the vocabulary word is. It then provides the students a definition. And what I was going to do, and I'm going to walk you through Flashcard Factory because it is super fun and exciting. So I actually have a folder in my Google Drive that hopefully you're seeing right now that has a little pair. That's Google's pair, not PearDeck's pair, but it has a little pair and it says PearDeck. And so I already have vocabulary lists that I have used in the past, obviously before distance learning. But I am going to use, we're going to do citizenship vocab. So these are the vocabulary words that I had used in the past. And the way it works is I would go to PearDeck and I'll show you peardeck.com right now too. I have these, 9 words. That's a lot, especially because they're going to be assigned into teams. And the way this would work is one person is going to be responsible for drawing the word. So I would have to draw the word suffrage. My partner, and PearDeck randomly assigns partners, so it's super convenient. My partner would be using that word in a sentence. It's great for that, that academic vocabulary. I love it. So these are my 9 vocabulary words. a bit much, but I did have like 90-minute classes. So if I wanted to do that, I could do it from PearDeck's website as well, where it would be right here in Get Started Flashcard Factory. So I can actually build my own, and it's super fun. Kind of gives me, this is PearDeck's website, so it gives me the step-by-step. So I've created a list. We're going to go into production phase, and once I have my vocab words, it's going to then create a new session. I'm not going to have us, we're not actually going to do this. I just wanted to show you what it would look like. So this would be a separate Join PD session with a new code, which is different than the code we have right now. And so even if I was teaching elementary school kids, I have done this with first graders. So it can be done. Just takes a little bit longer, but they know how to type joinpd.com. And once I've clocked you in, you would be assigned into one of those two groups. So the day shift, I make my people go sit next to each other, the night shift. And what's going to happen is if I hit let's play, it's going to give you the words, and it gives every kid the words in different orders. So everybody gets all 9 of those flashcards. I would probably cut it down to like 5 if I was going to do this again. And because each partnership creates 5 flashcards, I have classes of like 35. So that's a lot of flashcards. But once I hit let's play, somebody is. So Wendy, thank you. You are now playing by yourself, but I don't remember if you were in the day shift or the night shift. But Wendy can now see it. I cannot see your word until it shows up down here on the belt. But if I went to quality control, so I'm just kind of walking you through the process. The PearDeck website will do that as well. It's super, super convenient. And what would happen is once we had all of these flashcards with drawings, the definition, and even an image or a picture, and you have to draw the picture yourself. There's no ability to like import from Google Images. No taking the easy way out. I could then export this list to Gimkit, and then we can play it as a review. So this is like a multi-step process. You don't have to do the Gimkit unless you absolutely want to. But I just wanted you to see how Flashcard Factory worked. It is super fun. It is one of my favorite things that I loved to do in person. It got a little bit harder to do distance learning because the students would actually be doing all of it by themselves. And they got a little tired with that and were like, no thanks, I don't want to play that game. But Flashcard Factory, I am bringing back with a vengeance, and I am so excited to get back to the factory, I guess I should say. And I'll be back in a month, back to the factory. Now, this slide is going to show up on your screen. So this is a website slide. And I love this one as well, because this one is actually I can then force my students, and I'm still controlling them. I don't control, I'll use that word loosely, but I am still monitoring. There we go. I am sending them exactly where I want them to go. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to give you about a minute on the right-hand side of your screen as a student. It should pop up with the embedded website. This is PearDeck's website. And these are all of the templates that PearDeck has for you. They have social studies templates. They have brain break templates. So take a minute to go off and explore before I cut you off again. unlock your screen. And so the best part about this is, and all of these templates are completely modifiable. For holidays, PearDeck created templates for each major holiday. So that was great as kind of like a brain break in just about every slide deck I had. One time we decorated jack-o'-lanterns. So we carved a pumpkin using the drawing tools. So again, with premium access, I have that ability. We decorated cookies, candy hearts at Valentine's Day. We always decorated Perry, like it was our, it was our favorite thing to do. But I use the website slide a lot as well when I want my students to maybe go view an ed puzzle. So I want to know that they're doing it and I want to make sure that it gets done. I can take an embeddable link. I can do this with other Google Slides. I can do this with Google Docs. The only thing I can't embed at this moment in time, and I've asked PearDeck to change this, is a Google Jamboard. But I can send my students to YouTube videos where I know that they are only watching that YouTube video that I have purposely embedded on this slide. One of the downsides of PearDeck, in full disclosure, is I can only do one question type per slide. My workaround for that is I just duplicate the slide and then they may see the same slide multiple times, but what they're doing on each slide always changes depending on what the slide is. These are the 6 question types. So and this one is again a drawing slide. So what I'd like you to do is either using the pencil, which is going to be like your actual ability to circle, or the highlighter. I'd like you to circle the ones that you are most excited to potentially use. The drawing and draggable are reserved for premium access only, but the rest of them can be used by anyone regardless of membership type. So if you would be so kind as to, tell me which slides you would be most excited to use. You've already used a choice slide. The number slides and me don't always mix well, but you've used choice, you've used website, you've used drawing, and you use draggable. Pretty sure there's a text slide in here somewhere coming up shortly. So if you could do that for me, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Timing slides also keeps me on track too. Boy, do I need that sometimes. So much to talk about. I like them all too, Squid. Whoever you are, wherever you are, Squid. They're all my favorite. And every time you use them, you get like a fancy badge. So, I've added most of them to my, wow. Oh. Wow, that's funny. Crazy. Crazy. Okay. Now the next thing, and this is actually from a presentation I did last week. So if you're wondering why there's a llama when we were at the beach like 10 minutes ago, there's actually a PearFair coming up. And PearFair is PearDeck's free PD. So if PearDeck is something that you want to learn more about, I would strongly encourage you to register for PearFair. It is free. PearDeck is notorious for giving away free stuff, like my shirt and my Perry, and I have stickers, all kinds of stickers. Perry can go just about everywhere with me. But if you want to, it's on July 28th. It's all going to be virtual. It's on YouTube. And there will be people, usually there's an administrator strand and a teacher strand, social emotional learning, and it's going to be awesome. Once you sign up, if you're not able to attend, they send you the videos anyway, and you can watch them kind of at your own leisure. So I just wanted to put that out there. The sign up is right there on the homepage of PearDeck, peardeck.com. So I would encourage you, if you want to keep investigating, all things PearDeck related, sign up for PearFair. It's actually super fun and exciting. All right, so that was Flashcard Factory and templates. So that was 2 of the 4. Now we're going to move into my favorite Edu protocols. And Edu protocols, if you're not familiar, these are lesson frames. There's a book. There's actually 2 books. Well, there's 3 books. I take that back. There's the Edu Protocol Field Book, Book 1 and Book 2. There's a Math Reps book as well. If you're a math teacher, I have the book. I just don't teach math, so I'm trying to, share the pair. So I love Edu protocols, and I found a way to embed them in PearDeck so I could actually continue using them, and I will continue to use them moving forward with PearDeck as well. So my first one, here's a text slide. I knew I had one. My first one is, excuse me, the random emoji paragraph, which is an Edu protocol, which would require students to get a collection of random emojis. Now, the way it's supposed to be, we're supposed to do them one at a time, but for the essence of time and just to keep things moving sometimes, I would use this slide and I would give them all 5 random emojis at the same time, but then I'd give them a prompt. Tell me a story about summer using the emojis above. You must use all of the emojis. So you have a text box on this one, and you can write me a paragraph. I am watching you as you're writing, and I can provide feedback. So I would maybe start by saying, one day over the summer, I went for a walk. I was crying because my bird died. I was stopped by the, Buckingham Palace guards. I don't know. I can interpret that emoji in a lot of different ways. So, there's all of that. And some of you are writing, and I think that's fantastic because I'm providing the emojis for you. And there's a website that I use, birdseed, BYRD seed.com. That provides school-based emojis. So there's never going to be the poop emoji. There's never going to be the marijuana leaf emoji. We keep it all on the up and up here. So I am guaranteed that my emojis are going to be pretty school appropriate. And I can, see, oh, the parrot stepped on a red bird. Man, parrot, that's not good. That's not good, parrot. You stepped on yourself. And so I can watch you, and I'm going to leave some feedback real fast. You should see the feedback. So if you had actually responded, if you had started a random emoji paragraph, I wanted to leave you some feedback. So you can see that I have the PearDeck running on one screen, but then I have it open on another screen as well. So I just wanted you to see that this is one of my favorite Edu protocols. And it's a quick write, so I shouldn't give you any more than probably about 3 to 4 minutes. I'm not timing you, but we're gonna keep on keeping on here. And so I just wanted you to see it. It's great. It's super fun and super easy. And you never know what you're gonna get. The next one I want to show you is sketch and tell. And this one I have made very blank on purpose. Typically for a sketch and tell, we would have read something, or we would have maybe watched a video on the slide before. I would put a prompt in the gray box and you would draw. I've used this with podcasts as well. So we're going to listen to a podcast. As we're listening, you have a blank slate. You have a blank slide, and your job is to draw, sketch noting as you will kind of thing, what you see. So you are answering the question, and it could be based on a video. It could be based on a primary source. I've sketched the Constitution many, many times. I've sketched the Declaration of Independence. So writing about, you know, the reasons the colonists declared independence. So this one is your sketch slide. So it is, you know, it's a blank slide. You get all of that to draw whatever it is you need to draw. And then on the next slide, you tell about it. Now, sometimes I do combine that into one slide where we are sketching on the left-hand side and then telling on the right-hand side, or I could flip that, sketch on the right, tell, because with a drawing slide, you also have the ability, you also get a text feature. So I can do 2 for the price of 1 there. But this is sketch and tell. Super easy, super convenient, because I can actually watch you as you're working, know that you are, you know, commenting, or you're getting the main idea. You actually got the point. You didn't miss something along the way. I'm going to keep on keeping on here. So the next one is thin slide. This is actually probably my favorite Edu protocol, because you get 1 word and 1 image. Now, I don't use this one in PearDeck because they can't, my students are like, we hate to draw. So what I do is, by linking a Google slide deck, I actually am giving them the ability to edit this slide deck. And so I can link it in PearDeck. So again, I control where they are, and I know, okay, they are all editing their thin slide, and I can have them write a description in speaker notes, and then I can bring them back to the PearDeck. So I can shut off access. I can control just about everything from my end. But the thin slide is super convenient for checking for understanding. I use it in the beginning of the trimester or the semester to ask my students, you know, what's your favorite flavor? What's your favorite food? And you have to tell me why. You have to present it. It is short and sweet. A thin slide takes me no more than 5 minutes, and it's really fantastic. And once they get in a habit of doing this, all I have to do is swap out the website, and then I can just put this anywhere in a presentation, and it's one of my favorites. And then I have a master slide deck with all of that, and then they get to play with font, and they get to actually import images. So we have that conversation about, you know, appropriate imaging, font design, slide design, and all of that. So they get really good at it as the trimester, as the year goes on. The next 3 actually are all considered Freyr models. So this is where, if I'm working on vocabulary, again, maybe I don't want to use Flashcard Factory, and I want to mix it up. I would use this as a PearDeck slide, where we could use the text feature, or you can write it out by hand if you have fingers that are good enough to do that. I would use my Apple Pencil and iPad for that myself, but you know, but I could give you a word, and then I can actually model this as well by joining the PearDeck session and showing my response. But if I wanted to give you a word and we were in class, and maybe I wanted to Freyr the word democracy. So I would say, okay, in the word box, or I could actually have that. And then we can together, using the chat feature or just being in class together, come up with a definition of democracy, examples, non-examples. Why is my husband's calling me. Thanks, husband. I think he forgot that I was presenting today. Thanks. Good job. No, there we go. Whew. Man, sorry about that. And so we can actually do this together. This is Freyring. It's good for any vocabulary, but you don't have to use PearDeck for this either. Like, you could just take all the PearDeck stuff off and use it for, you know, Google Slide Deck. As a history teacher, this is where I like to use historical events. So maybe I wanted to, in the center, we could Frayer the Constitutional Convention. So images, that one's going to be a little hard in PearDeck, but if I want to draw like, you know, the room where it happens, I can do that. I can describe the event. I can talk about and list the key players. So again, everything that I can do in Google Slides, I can find a way. Ooh, JFK, that's a good one. I can find a way to actually add it in PearDeck as well. So I would put like Jackie O or Lee Harvey Oswald, whatever it may be, Marilyn Monroe, whatever you want. But this is how I take the Frayer vocabulary and apply it to historical events and historical people. This one is for an event, but I also have one for persons. So if this was, yes, the assassination of JFK, then I would, you know, specify that. What else did somebody just deleted their response. But I'm going to move on. Sorry. Then I have this one for people. And so we can do this one as well. All right. I know I'm running out of time. Okay. This is a PearDeck template. Draw a map of your hometown. So this would be great for like geography, chronology, one of my favorites, where I can put this in at the beginning and say, all right, can you please, you know, drag these into chronological order. So number one is the Declaration of Independence. And then I want my students to then tell me what they think the rest of those are in order. I had to, oh, wow, they're in reverse order. So 1 through 5. Wow, look at me. I'm so tricky sometimes. 1 through 5 from the top to the bottom. So I just gave you the answer. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to keep on here because I want to show you a SHEG lesson as well. So this is from the Stanford History Educational Group, and it was what caused the Stonewall riots of 1969. So anytime I would use one of these, this is my favorite template probably, where I would ask my students to draw or type 2 things you already know. So we're accessing prior knowledge. I learned after the fact, it took me, about 6 months to learn this. I needed to take out the word topic and actually type what I wanted them to write about. Otherwise, they're going to tell me nothing. Yes, and that's totally fine. I accept that. But I had to start deleting today's topic and replacing it with the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence so that I could actually be like, okay, can you stick with the program here? No, it's fine. And so then we had some background information on the Lavender Scare. Then we had the central historical question where I don't want them to answer this question. We answered this question at the end. Then comes document A. And anytime I would use a primary source, I would make it a drawing slide. So we're annotating on the slide together. And I can add directions. This was actually at the end of the year. So we've been doing this for so long, I didn't need to. But anytime I wanted them to annotate a primary source, I made it a drawing slide and we could just go to town and we can highlight it and we can draw on it and we can ask questions. And that is the joy of PearDeck for me, is teaching with primary sources. This gives them the ability. They're not writing it. I'm not using paper. We're doing everything online and they're going to get a copy. They're going to get a copy when we're done, which is kind of nice too. This one is a PearDeck template as well, where I'm going to give you a source and then ask you whether it was a primary source, a secondary source, or a tertiary source. And we can just kind of see. I think this was something I got from an LGBTQ institute I went to over the summer. It is. So this is the case of Charlie Parkhurst. So it's a newspaper article from 1880, and we can have multiple conversations. So this is yet another way to add in all of my super fun things. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. PearDeck as an add-on. So this is fantastic. So I should actually probably show you that. The PearDeck add-on is my, again, favorite thing in the planet. So let me just pull up this one. And so the way the PearDeck add-on works is it's here in add-ons if it decides to work for me. Maybe I should let it load here. Okay, so add-ons, PearDeck is an add-on. I already have it installed, and so it shows up right next to it. Every time I open a Google slide deck, I automatically get my PearDeck feature, and PearDeck will let me know if something's not working. And what I do is I just keep this open over here on the right-hand side, and everything I need is right here. So once I have the add-on, if you don't, I strongly recommend you get it. Just go to add-ons, get add-ons, and then you would just type PearDeck. If you use Microsoft PowerPoint, they do have an add-on for that too. I just gave up on Microsoft. But this is where I can add in a question, and one question per slide, but I can change it. If I change my mind, I can be like, oh, wait, I want this one. The template library is right there as well. Super convenient. You can add audio to slides now. So if you had directions or you needed to translate things for ELs, you can do that with add audio. There's also an immersive reader as well. So if I was doing primary sources, a lot of them, I could also have PearDeck read to my students if I wanted to do that as well. So there's so many great things. And you're going to get a copy of these slides so you can come back and refer to this. You are on anonymous, so I can change that in my settings to say, I want you to use your Google sign-on, but you can embed Flipgrids, you can embed Padlets. You can actually get an embeddable code to a Padlet. So maybe I wanted my students to brainstorm something. We can use a website slide and kind of go to Padlet, and then you're just at Padlet. You're not, wandering here and there. Templates, the question types, everything you need in one convenient location. PearDeck.com is obviously PearDeck's homepage. They change this page frequently, so it might not look the same. Oh, look, I just stole this from my friend Verity as well. Oops. And I borrow from her a lot. We're colleagues. But with premium, you can also do pop-ups, which means I can just ask a question on the fly. PearDeck has an orchard. Apparently that's where you grow pears, where you can actually access other people's slide decks as well. They provide a copy of everything you've ever done. And what I wanted to do is I can show you how to turn on student paste, because I am about to run out of time, which always happens. But I can turn on student paste, and I'm actually going to put this session in student paste mode. And I'm going to put the link in the sched so that you can come back and interact with these slides kind of, at your own speed. Weekly Wonders, this is provided by PearDeck. If you subscribe to their newsletter, every week they'll send you kind of like a current event thing. They've also partnered with Newsella for weekly decks, weekly slide decks that come out every Monday morning. It's fantastic. I love it. So awesome. Be Internet Awesome. They do digital citizenship. Everything you need, they actually provide it for you. If you have to teach digital citizenship, it's all right there as well. This is all of PearDeck's stuff. They have a lot of stuff. Twitter, they're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. Here is your link. This is the link that you want. So when I put this in student paste mode, because you have a copy of these slides, it's like slide 35, I think it is. This one has a link on it to a free 90-day 90-day premium access to PearDeck. So you can play and do all of those things. That is my email address, my Twitter handle, and actually my phone number. So I would answer any questions. I guess I should also check the chat. But if there's any questions, I can ask them really fast. I am so sorry. I love PearDeck and could talk about it forever and ever and ever. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Moderator, I will stop sharing now because then I can read better. Woo! Ooh, gotta put you in student pace mode too. Boop. Oh, didn't want to do that there. Yes, I did. Boop. Yeah.
So because we're already in it and you put it in student pace mode, if we keep it open, we'll keep access to it.
Mhm.
We don't need to reopen it from another link. Okay. Awesome.
And I'm going to put I'll put the link in the sched in just a minute.
But we don't have to open it again if we already have it open.
Yep.
Okay.
You just leave it open. It'll be there forever. Not forever, but yeah.
For us to go back to and goof around with later. Awesome. Thank you so much. Amazing job.
Boop. Boop. Yes, I needed to do that too.
Hey, Brianna, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna close the session.
Okay, awesome. I don't, unless there's any more questions, our moderator's got to go to her next gig. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.